Earlier in today's lesson, we learned that every device on the Internet has an IP address. An example of the IP address format is 192.168.112.142. As you've probably noticed, this address is difficult to remember. People realized they needed an easier way to communicate with computers on the Internet. The solution was to associate names with IP addresses. This makes it easier to remember how to get to a particular site. For example, you just type in mtv.com or cnn.com and so on. This is much easier than having to know the IP address of the site you want to visit. Site names are easier for users, but computers still must use IP addresses for communication. For this reason, devices called domain name servers are used on the Internet. Domain name servers, or DNS servers, associate site names with IP addresses. The DNS server keeps track of a site's name, which is called a domain name. When you type a domain name into your web browser, a DNS server matches that name to the correct IP address so you can connect to the site. Once you type in the domain name, the DNS server does the rest. Here's a trick you can use to tell if a site is part of the World Wide Web. If a site's domain name starts with www, that means that it's part of the web. When a site is part of the web, it means that anyone can access it. Well, okay. That's not totally correct. A site can be a part of the web and still not be accessible to everyone. That's because it's using special security protocols requiring passwords and authentication to restrict access to qualified individuals. We'll discuss authentication later in this course, but for the most part, if it's on the web, it's available to everyone.